Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW Dynamite, as we continue with more of the TNT Championship qualifier match, who will walk out on this match for the be part of Forbidden Door? Will it be the scapegoat Jack Perry or the natural Dustin Rhodes? We do have the AEW International title on the line as well, as Will Ospreay defends his belt against one of the best wrestlers we've always watched, Ray Phoenix. And we got plenty of other things that are taking place as well. But first things first, we're going back in time not too long ago, this past weekend on June 9th. We have, of course, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with PRISM that took place in Korakuen Hall. The International Princess title is defended. Yuki Arai defends her belt against LA Taylor, so that's going to be a real fun one. And of course, Miyu Watanabe defends the Princess title against, of course, Vert Vixen. This is going to be a huge challenge for her. Then we move on with Pro Wrestling Noah with Star Navigation, featuring, of course, the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles defended. Will GLG, more specifically Tadasuke and Yohei, reign will supreme, or we will have new crown tag champions? Will that be Eita and Shuji Kondo? We'll find out as well. But as you know, this coming weekend we have Gabe Kidd and facing off against Kaito Kiyomiya once again to prove he thinks that he is the future of pro wrestling, and Kaito Miya is nothing but a piece of garbage. But he also stole the GHC heavyweight title. We will see what happens until then. But we'll cap up this episode with some news updates to give you guys update what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course some developments. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do, of course, discussion videos, talk about various topics, such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to give you guys updates on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, I believe it's time to get this show on the road. So let's begin with our first review, and this is from Joshi Promotion, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Alrighty then, let's begin with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with PRISM 2024. This took place this past Sunday at Korakuen Hall. Now, of course, our favorite ring announcer, Mayubi, actually opened up the whole thing, gave everybody all the necessary info as always. And then, of course, we had a performance from the Up Up Girls. I don't know which song they were playing, but let's just keep moving forward from that. Now, our first match, we have tag team action. We have Haru Kazushiro and Runa Okubo, they take on Daisy Monkey, Arisu Endo, and Suzumi. Now, what's strange is this, that our current tag champions are not even defending the belts, which was rather interesting that no one challenged them. We do know that the international princess title and the princess title are defended, but well, who knows? Maybe no tag teams are willing to challenge them. That's one of the things. But moving on. But I have to say the match was pretty good. But I did like how Haru was very smart to, in fact, not to get caught in the Ring of Bells, which is, of course, a stunner or RKO type by Suzumi. But, of course, Suzumi was very successful in applying that, and that worked in her favor, allowing for her and Endo to pick up the win. Next up, we have singles action. We have Ura Takami and versus Chika Nanazi. Now, not too much a big deal for this one due to the fact that these girls are still rookies. I hardly get to see them because um, they're practically new to me. I haven't been keeping up much with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, but it was interesting how this match ended. Nanaze actually applied a somewhat of a full Nelson, but using wrist locks involved. I'm like, don't know how effective it was, but it was very effective for, of course, Takami to, of course, give up just like that. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Pam Harajuku teaming up with her BFF, Raku. They take on Saki from Colors and Nao Kakuta. Now, don't forget, Nao Kakuta is set to retire next month, and I think many of us are trying to enjoy these last few matches left in her. But at the same time, it's cool that she teams up with Saki, someone who she's familiarized with back from their At-Risk Girls days. And it's interesting that this happened. But it was Nao Kakuta who picked up the win when she applied the backpack stunner onto, of course, Palm, allowing herself to pick up the win. Next up, we have 6-woman tag team match. We have Maki Ito, Kaya Toribami, and of course the most apologetic person in the planet, Mahito Kiru. They take on Kira Summer, Yuki Kamafuku, and the legend Aja Kong. Now this was interesting. Kira and Yuki, they both came out wearing Aja Kong's face makeup. I don't know what that was about, but I thought it was really damn cool. But of course, Maki Ito and the others were like a bit of surprise that turned out that way. But you would think because Aja Kong is in this match, she will pick up the win. No, it was Kamifuku who picked up the win onto Kaya on Toribami with the Famouser, and just like that, it was completely over. Now our next match, we have Moka Miyamoto taking on one of the best AEW Women's Champions, Hikaru Shida. So it's kind of interesting that she's there. No, guys, I don't know if she's ever been in Stardom before, but yes, she has made frequent appearances in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling in the past. But of course, this match was going to fall in her favor because everybody knows who she is. Everybody knows what she's done here in the States, especially with AEW. But she was able to pick up the win with the Falcon Arrow, and just like that, it was completely over. Our next match, we have an 8-woman tag match. Team number 1, we have Shino Suzuki, Toga, Iwarari, and Wakana Uehara. They take on the veterans, Yuki Aino, Mizuki, Rika Tatsumi, and Shoko Nakajima. So it's interesting to see the rookies taking on the vets. Now, of course, many people would say the vets have the advantage, which is normally true. But these girls really held in there. I think many people are looking at Wakana, who's the fan favorite, maybe to pick up the win. She had a hell of a fight with Rika Tatsumi, but Tatsumi picked up the win when she applied the Twist of Fate, and it was over. Now, our next match, this is our semi-main event. This is a title match. This is for the International Princess title. We have the challenger, L.A. Taylor, taking on the champion, Yuki Arai. So you would think this would be a very tough challenge for her. I mean, she has fought the most, toughest challenge in her career. I mean, She knows how to defend this belt. She refuses to stay down, but she was able to finally pick up an opening when she applied the finally, and it was over just like that. So she retained her belt. I mean, she did win up to the limits, but yes, it did. Now it's time for a main event. We have the Princess of Princess title, or as people like to call it, the Pop title, because of the acronyms POP, Princess of Princess. Miyu Watanabe versus, of course, Vert Vixen. I thought this match was a very tough challenge for Miyu Watanabe in every aspect because A, she has faced the toughest challenges of her life before becoming ever the champion. But Vert Vixen really pushed her to the limit. But Miyu applied many, of course, the laser beams. She could barely apply the giant swing, but it only took a teardrop to put away for Vixen to pick up the win. However, before when the celebration was going, Miyu Watanabe's tag team partner Rika Tatsumi made her presence known, which was very interesting. Now, don't forget these two were tag partners, and they were former Princess tag team champions. However, Rika Tatsumi's intentions were very clear. She was asking for a title match. Now, Miyu Watanabe knows that she had no other choice but to give it because she knows how self-centered Rika Tatsumi can be. It's no secret to her because A, she's her tag partner. She knows exactly how she is. She knows how she operates. And it's no secret because if you guys remember, many years ago, it was Miyu Watanabe who challenged her when she was, of course, the pop champion at the time. So it makes sense. It's like, okay, I lost to you when you were champion. Let's see how you do with me this time. But she knows that she can't escape it. It's no secret that Rika Tatsumi is going desperately to make her way back to the top. And the only way she's going to do that now is to face against her own tag partner. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to presume if I was a betting man, I would say this would take place at Wrestle Princess, which is very convenient. And we'll see what happens from here on out. So I think we're done here with, of course, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Let's move on with Noah. Okay, Pro Wrestling Noah. Now, I don't know exactly who was there first in Korakuen Hall. Was it either Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling or Pro Wrestling Noah? But it doesn't matter. They just had one of the recent shows with Star Navigation 2025, and this was also on a Sunday. Now, we opened up the show with Hajime Ohara teaming up with Ninja Mac, taking on the junior members of Team Noah, Hiroki, and of course, Atsushi Kotoge. Now, it's no secret that Hajime Ohara is familiarized with both of these men. They either tag or they faced off each other. But unfortunately, Team Noah made some mistakes when they actually misfired on each other when they had Ninja Mac right in the grasp. But that dang Ninja was getting way too smart. But once again, Ninja Mac was the one who picked up the win with the Ninja Bomb onto Hiroki, allowing himself to pick up the win. Next up, we have, of course, is a singles match. Takashi Sugiura versus, of course, Anthony Green. Now, this is coming up for the upcoming tag team match. As you know, Anthony Green is one half of the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Champions with Jack Morris. Sugiura will team up with Naomichi Marufuji to face them at, of course, this coming Sunday. So this is a bit of a prelude or warm up before then. But I wasn't too sure how this would end, but it was, of course. Sugiura had this one won, but it was, of course, Anthony Green that countered it with a inside cradle. And just like that, it was over. After, of course, Sugiura applied an avalanche suplex, and just like that, countered it. It was unbelievable. I don't think Sugiura expected it, but it did. Next up, we have a 6-man tag match. We have Yu Owada, Starboy Charlie, and Hayata. They take on, of course, Yoshinari Ogawa, Super Crazy, and Daga. Now, this is prelude before Daga puts the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title against Starboy Charlie. But the match was pretty good. However, of course, Daga is making it clear that no one is going to dare to take away his kingdom. But Super Crazy kind of messed things up. It was, of course, Starboy Charlie with a frog splash onto Super Crazy, allowing to save his match. But of course, Daga should be more concerned over the fact that his kingdom could fall apart. But we will see what happens. I'm pretty sure this match will take place this coming Sunday or so. Next up, we have All Rebellion members, mostly from the guys from the junior heavyweight division. Cristobal and Alejandro, they take on Junta Miyawaki and the returning Amasuke. We haven't seen him for quite some time, but it's great to see him back again. I mean, he really is a wrestler. We love his gimmick and all that. But in the end of this match, it was Amasuke who picked up the win when he applied a spiral on Cristobal to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Rohei Oiwa, Okazazaki, and of course, Titus Alexander taking on Shuhei Taniguchi, Daiki Inaba, and Misa Kitamiya. Now, you would think there's some factors here. You got, of course, two of the strongest individuals, Inaba and Kitamiya, but you would think there's going to be all that. But, however, the biggest surprise was Oiwa when he applied a gut-wrench power bomb onto Inaba to pick up the win. We know that right now his priority is to get stronger to get to Kitamiya, so that's something we could see. Now, we did see, of course, their tag partners face each other up earlier. Sugiura's tag partner, Naomichi Marufuji, faces against, of course, Anthony Green's tag partner, Jack Morris. But how will the Genius of the Arc would do now? I mean, as you know, GLG has always been one of the strongest groups ever in their matches, especially when it came to championships. But it was, of course, Naomichi Marufuji who was dubbed as the Genius of the Arc. He was able to apply a flip victory roll onto Jack Morris to pick up the win. So the question does tell, could this match be an indication they could lose the tag belts? Well, we will see what happens until then. Now, our next match, this is our only tag title match. We have the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We have Shuji Kondo. He teams up with Eita, taking on GLG's Tadasuke and Yohei. Now, we know that Kondo has challenged these belts before, but no luck. Eita has been the champion, but now he's a full-time member. He's once again trying to show the world why he is going to be the face of the junior heavyweight division in Noah. And I have to say, he really demonstrated very well. I mean, he took a lot of pounding heat from Yohei, but it was a super thrust kick that when Yohei went in the air, and just like that, it was completely over, allowing for him and Kondo to become our brand new GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Champion. So what an amazing match. So they get to walk away as champions. So this is going to be disappointing. So right now, as you know, GLG are losing their belts, but it's not in a fast rate. We know that Jake Lee lost his belt not too long ago, and now he'll do whatever it takes to get it back. But we'll get to that. Now, our next match, we have Jake Lee. He teams up with Gabe Kidd. Now, don't forget the relation between Jake Lee and David Finlay because they wanted to destroy Naito. However, Jake Lee was receiving boos from the fans. The reason is this: they're questioning how could he allow Gabe Kidd to steal this belt and disrespect it. And I think I don't know what Jake Lee was thinking. I mean, he probably thinks that everything will be just fine, but the problem is this: he's allowing for this guy to run his mouth and disrespect it. But however, of course, Kato came in and Keno had to deal with them. But oh my God, Gabe Kidd was willing to kill Kitamiya to prove a point that Kitamiya is full of garbage, that he is not the future. He's declaring himself as the future. But fortunately, this match ended in a double countout, but they continued pounding each other But the best part is Kitsune got his belt back. But of course, we'll see what happens until then. But Keno has the absolute confidence that Kitsune will walk out as the champion, and he knows that he cannot let a scumbag like Gabe Kidd to try to disrespect Noah. So they're saying they're there to protect Noah at any cost. So we'll see what happens this coming Sunday. So I think that's pretty much it with Noah. I believe it's time to move on with our last and final review, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Started out with Swerve Strickland, of course, making his way to the ring to do a promo. As you know, at Forbidden Door, he will face off against Will Ospreay. Of course, he gave his thoughts about him, but he gave a little interesting thing. He told him that he was an assassin, but his recent match, he doesn't consider that he was an assassin. He was playing a very smart, talented game right there. However, of course, he goes into the Elite, and then the Elite show up. They were trying to they even put out the gauntlet saying that they are going to challenge AEW's very best because they're trying to prove they are in full control, that they are the real deal. And they said they'll challenge anybody at Blood and Guts. But they even try to persuade Swerve to side with them, saying, "You're a champion, side with us. We are the real deal." But however, Swerve does not feel comfortable being around them because he still had a problem for what they did to Tony Khan. However, of course, it could have been a 4-on-1 scenario, but the Acclaimed showed up to make things a lot more interesting for them. But Christopher Daniels decided to stop the brawl. They decided not to waste time. So he decided to jump ahead for the TNT title qualifier match. We have Jack Perry versus Dustin Rhodes. But man, this was a battle you wouldn't expect. But of course, Jack Perry would stop at nothing to break Dustin Rhodes to prove his point, saying that the universe has chosen him to become the next TNT champion. So that's exactly what happened. But of course, Dustin Rhodes' final act, he gave him the finger, and then Jack struck him with the knee. He advances along with Takeshita, and I believe who was the other person? I forgot who was the other person that was involved. But yes, so yeah. But we'll see. Now, we do see an interview with Renee Paquette with Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe. Of course, Orange Cassidy said that he has friends that will have it, but he still has that. Should I count on them? But he said he knows that he can count on one person, and that is Willow Nightingale. She's the one person he knows he can count on. But oh my God, Mark Briscoe did a pretty impressive promo. Kyle O'Reilly had that look like he was liking what he was seeing with, of course, with Briscoe. So I thought it was great. Now, our next match we have Rush versus Dion Russman. Well, I can tell you Russman got himself an ass beating from Rush because he's not here to play games. And of course he got the bull's horn in order to end this whole thing. But things got a little interesting. Of course, Rush did a promo. MJF comes out. Then, of course, all hell broke loose. Basically, they were brawling all over the ring, outside the ring, through the audience, then all the way to the back. However, this later was told by, of course, Excalibur, that next week, kicking off the show, it would be, of course, Rush versus MJF, commercial free. So this was on the decision making from none other than the CEO of AEW, Tony Khan. Now let's jump into, of course, our next match: Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe taking on Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and Roderick Strong. Now we do know there was some history among certain people in this one, especially with Roderick Strong, with O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy. Things got out of hand and things were becoming chaotic. But it was Fletcher who picked up the win when she, in fact, of course, power drive Briscoe. Now, this match, I don't know if he can address it now or maybe a little later. As you know, he pinned the ROH World Champion. So he could deeply ask for a title shot for the world title since he is the World Television Champion. But we'll see about that. But of course, we did see Willow Nightingale's music being played. Then she was viciously attacked by Chris Statlander. They decided, but Statlander decided to attack Willow in the forehand, and of course that snake Stokely Hathaway was taking pictures. You can actually see it on his damn social media. But sooner or later, someone's gonna smack the head out of that bald-headed moron. Now, a very interesting, surprising. Now, don't forget, guys, we are gonna be coming up with the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Apparently, someone from New Japan announced his participation. And this is, of course, the one person I did not expect. And I think many of you guys are happy and you're looking forward to it. That is none other than the Dragon himself, Shingo Takagi. He actually put his hand on his hat, on the hat, his name on the hat, and just like that. I think this is going to be an interesting tournament. So we still got a long way to go until all the battle line is drawn, who will be involved. So can't wait to see that. Now, we do see Christopher Daniels. Apparently, as you know, recently, Swerve, I kind of alluded this about Swerve. Swerve made a very interesting point about the Elite. More specifically, Okada and the EVPs. What exactly did he make a point? Swerve has been defending the AEW title constantly. But what about them? So he's saying you guys are not even defending your belts. So Daniels decided to take a heart what Swerve Strickland was right. You're not seeing the Bucks defending the belts whatsoever. So next week, Okada and the Elite will have their title matches. Well, not more eliminator matches. So basically, you'll see, of course, them being in eliminator matches. So if the challengers of the eliminator win, they get a shot. But all they got to do is hold on to the time limit they have in order to do so. So we could see that. Now, our next match, well, we had Davari and Nice, the premier athletes, taking on Joe and Hook. So once again, Shibata with the camera. Once again, he showed up, and of course, they attacked the premier athletes out of nowhere, and then and we see Shibata with the camera, and I think everybody would have a bit of fun with Shibata, with the camera. I mean, we did saw him with the camera last Saturday. There's no crying in wrestling. That never gets old, guys. But nonetheless, of course, as always, when it comes to premier athletes, that goofball of attorney Sterling gets involved. But oh my God, he got himself tangled up with Shibata, choking him out. But however, we did see Joe choking out Nice, and then we saw, of course, Davari choked out by Hook, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, this is one of two title matches. We have, of course, Mercedes Moné defends the TBS title against Stephanie Vakir's tag partner, Zeuxis. So you would think that Zeuxis will have an opportunity to stake claim for this belt. Well, you would normally would, but I can tell you that Mercedes Moné is sending a direct message back to Stephanie Vakir when she applied the moneymaker, allowing herself to pick up the win. Now, during an interview with Toni Storm and Mariah May, as you know, they're questioning about the upcoming match with Mina and all this other stuff. But Mariah May kind of let this slip, saying that Mina will be in AEW next week. I don't think Toni Storm wants that. She just wants her to stay out of her business. So yeah. Now once again we got, hey guys, that's right, Jericho. But apparently this time he wants to integrate Private Party. Okay. Wants to integrate Private Party into the mix. Now remember, he questioned him. He questioned them. Why could this be known as Public Party? So it's kind of like, what is he talking about? But of course they declined their offer. They took matters in their own hands, taking out all of Jericho and his Learning Tree people. So that sets it up right there. Now, I don't know if this is wise or really brave or dumb. As you know, we have the 3/4 of the Bang Bang Gang, Juice, and the Ass Boys. But apparently, they called out the House of Black. Now you would think, is this a mistake out of their part? Well, they think they are not afraid of them. They think they're a bunch of no good for nothing guys. I mean, I hate to say this, guys. They don't ever try to pick a fight with those guys because they mean business. That's exactly what they do. But nonetheless, that's their own damn fault. Now, our next match, we have Daniel Garcia taking on Nick Comoroto. Will Ospreay and MJF were in the back watching this match. Now, don't forget, Daniel Garcia did say he will be coming for the international title. I don't know what MJF's deal is with this, but we'll see. But it was, of course, the Red Cross by Garcia to pick up the win. Now, we did see people making names that will be involved in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. One particular name has been mentioned. He said he staked his claim that he will be part of it, and that is none other than the bastard Pac. So that's going to be interesting. Now, let's jump into our main event. We have Will Ospreay defending the AEW International title against Rey Fenix. Man, the match was awesome. You know there were going to be fantastic spots, but of course, Swerve was in the house watching this from front row. But this went into a very interesting, not predicament, but more clear message by Will Ospreay. He tells him, "It's my house," and he does the swerve stomp, the surf stomp and hidden blade, just like that. So he picked up the win, and then Swerve had a few words to say in his ear, and he handed the title to him. I don't know what he was thinking, but I'm sure he's up to something. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens until then. So I think we are done with all the reviews, so let's move on with news updates. Okay, news updates. So let's get started. Let's begin with updates with their promotions, with their upcoming events. Now, this coming weekend, we have Deadlock Pro Wrestling with Live 6. It was announced that the DPW Women's World title will be defended. Miyuki Takase defends her belt against Dani Luna. And then, of course, the following week on the 29th of June, or 2 weeks or so, in Dallas, GCW will have Crime Wave. They announced that the GCW World Tag Team titles will be defended. Violence is Forever will defend their tag belts against Desperados. Well, it could be either Gringo Loco or Latigo or Aries, however they're gonna go in. Now, if you guys remember clearly, I mentioned about this with Prestige Wrestling for their upcoming Combat Clash PDX taking place on July 12th. There's this thing called a 6-person All-Star Scramble match. Now, they pick 6 wrestlers, 2 each from representing their promotions. From the Prestige side, we have Jaden and Sonico. For the Deadlock Pro Wrestling side, we have LeBron Cozano and BK Westbrook. Now, the real question is who will be representing West Coast Pro. Well, I was surprised, but very happy. Titus Alexander and Starboy Charlie. So these 6 individuals will be involved in a scramble match. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Kitsune Women's Wrestling for their Shugo event taking place on the 14th of July. They announced for mainly will be making her debut. I mentioned her debut recently for the Dennis Richmond Invitational that both West Coast Pro and Oasis Pro are involved in. And then finally, for the Queen of Indies taking place on August 17th, Charisma will be making her appearance as well. So I think that's pretty much it for our, of course, with the updates on the events of the promotion. So let's begin on the developments. A PW Insider reports that Robert R.D. Evans, who was part of the creative team of TNA, has left the promotion, but has now been foretold that he is currently now working with AEW. So it's kind of interesting that it's happening now. I don't know if he left because of the situation with D'Amore. I don't know. but we'll see. Now, as you know, Jordynne Grace has been making a buzz. People talk about her while she made her presence known in NXT. She said that she would love to see TNA versus NXT in the Worlds Collide event. Now, if you guys remember that, it was an annual turn event that happens between NXT and NXT UK, but since NXT UK is dissolved, that would be an interesting. I'm sure there'd be a lot, of course, how to say, interesting dream matches that many fans would like to see. Now, recently there's been talk about the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake. They've been Fightful Select reports that they've been in talks with the AEW about potential contracts. But yeah, so that's what's been going on as well. I mean, it's no secret about that, but I'm sure many fans will like to see them there. Now, many of you may have heard of what's been going on with, of course, Scott D'Amore. Apparently, as you know, he was fired from TNA after Hard to Kill, and this led a lot of buzz. Now, some of you may question when would Scott D'Amore be back. Well, that's the part that was later foretold by Rhino during a podcast interview. He is, from what he's saying, he is home being paid doing nothing. This is being done by Anthem, the company that fired him, and basically he is in a non-compete clause that will not be done until February of 2025. So basically, he is not doing anything. He's not allowed to work in the US or in Canada. So basically, he's just doing home doing nothing, basically. But I'm sure Scott D'Amore has some things up his mind now that he's been fired. I'm sure that he's making plans on what he's going to do. So we'll see. Now, as you know, when I reviewed MARIGOLD, there's a new title that was mentioned called the Super Flyweight Championship. Now, some of you may question what it was, but a part of me was thinking, is this, of course, what is similar to the high-speed title? Well, it turns out Rossi Ogawa kind of gave that explanation. Yes, guys, it's the super flyweight title is kind of like the high-speed belt, so it would make sense. I mean, I get the whole thing with the red and white belt like they did in Stardom and All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, but I don't know. So, but this is kind of interesting. Now, our last development here, as you may or may not have heard, this coming Sunday at Yokohama Butai, there's going to be a major announcement about, of course, the strengthening the relationship between Noah and WWE. Now, I know some of you are excited for this. I know the WWE has been determined to make alliances with promotions outside of their comfort zone. They haven't done that for a very long time, and of course, this was all Vince's fault. But of course, there's people that would be concerned over the how do I say, will this work? Because WWE's had the tendency to show their superiority. But there has been talk about Shinsuke Nakamura also making his way to Noah to address the fans about this major announcement this coming Sunday. But he did stated that it would give him time to go back to Japan and wrestle there. I think some of you may remember he used to be from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Some of you would question why wouldn't they work with why is he going to Noah instead of New Japan? Well, the thing is this. New Japan has partnered up with AEW. That's something that WWE wanted. Now, to make this perfectly clear, guys, New Japan Pro Wrestling is the number one Japanese promotion in all of Japan. Noah is second. So, I don't know how their relationship will do, but nonetheless, we'll just wait and see what happens. So, I think that's pretty much it right now. With this, let's just call it a day. Okay, well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have TNA and Ring of Honor. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do another review. There's still some wrestling I haven't seen just yet. I will decide until then, but for now, we'll just leave TNA and Ring of Honor as a top priority, and we'll go from there. But yes, so we leave things like that. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.